See. Okay. I'm going to do a round of applause. I am very excited about this talk because Danny and I are actual friends and former coworkers. So I know her work ethic, and it means a lot for me to have her here speaking to everyone. So, Danny, before I go ahead and shout out all of your amazing accolades, I'm going to ask you to briefly introduce yourself and provide an overview of your education and career journey so far.
Thank you so much for inviting me. As always, Sabrina, you've been a shining bright light throughout, my corporate and legal journey. Again, a little bit about me. I Initially, I went to Spelman College, where I was a political science major. Enjoyed my time in Atlanta and the AUC networking. And I would say the highlight of my time at Spelman was taking a con law class. And the professor taught it like a real, Socratic method, like a law school course. And so that's where I really kind of got my passion and, discovered that I really considered going to law school. That was like my junior year. Again, I started to apply, take the LSAT, and ended up going to law school and applying and getting into Widener Law School in Delaware. Enjoyed my time, really enjoyed learning the law. It was definitely, law school was a struggle. It's not for the faint of heart at all. Fortunately, I did a few internships throughout my time in law school. I interned at the district attorney's office, and I also interned for a family court, or clerked for a family court judge. However, I really discovered my passion when I got an internship at the production company for the NFL, or NFL Films, and that's where I met Sabrina. It all comes full circle. But so that's a little bit about, again, kind of my education background, and how I kind of became interested in attending law school and becoming a lawyer.
Okay, so I guess I'll pick the story back up. We worked together at NFL Films. We both worked in the footage and photo acquisitions department, which is kind of, for anyone that doesn't know, it's kind of like the intellectual property side of the NFL, where you are handling the acquisition or the sales of, or the buying of footage and photos that'll be included into NFL shows. So some NFL shows we worked on was HBO Hard Knocks, NFL AM.
Yep. Football Life.
Oh yeah, Football Life. Yeah. And our desks were right across from each other.
Yeah.
So my cubicle was here and Danny's was across. And such a hard worker. I'm like a chatty Cathy, and Danny is like so quiet. She would sit down and she would like read contracts all day and be quiet and eat her lunch at her desk. She just was always a really hard worker. So it did not surprise me that the next time I saw Danny after I left the NFL, I saw you in a picture with the CEO of Comcast, like getting an award on some at a Comcast all hands meeting. I'm like, look at Danny doing her thing, but I'm not shocked because this girl works really hard. I worked right next to her. She was my neighbor when we were at the NFL, and like she works hard. She will work through her lunch to get things done. That's what kind of person she is. So how did we go from the NFL to Comcast? What's that?
Yeah. So I mean, of course, the great thing about the NFL is, it's fun, and I'm very passionate about sports. I love all things Philly sports, especially the Eagles. So, with that, it's hard to, when you're looking for that career progression, it's hard to sometimes, move into that next role, because a lot of people don't leave. They love working there as much as you do. And it's hard for people to leave. And there's only a certain number of, available positions at a company. And so, when it came to the time where I was, looking for more career opportunity and career growth opportunities, I wanted to stay in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York area, and I wanted to stay in a media and tech company. I wanted to really work with a media and tech company. And so, of course, Comcast is kind of the biggest company in the Philadelphia area in the tech and media space. So it seems like, that's where my focus naturally shifted. And I started to apply for positions in their content acquisition department. And, I interviewed and got, past a few rounds, but I never could quite get a role in that department. And so I was networking at a professional event in the city, and just happened to meet someone who was in the compliance side of the house, and they were more so in operational compliance and regulatory compliance, which again, that's more of just making sure as laws change, you update your processes and procedures internally to make sure you comply with those laws. And so I started speaking with someone who had a position in that area. And it seemed like something that was interesting. And again, I think one of the beauties of going to law school and becoming a lawyer is you learn how to issue spot, and you learn how to think critically. And that skill can be utilized, throughout the business, right? Not just in the legal department, but operationally and, in other areas of the business. It's critical that you spot issues and you can problem solve and come up with solutions to those problems quickly. And so, again, after speaking with that individual who's still a mentor now, I, applied for a role with Comcast and ultimately started there. 8 years later, I bounced around a few different compliance roles. So I started again in the operational and regulatory compliance space for their ad sales division. And I still reviewed contracts and agreements periodically. But again, I more so focused on the compliance side of the house. And then about 4 years in, I pivoted into corporate compliance. And so corporate compliance is really interesting. And that's what I'm currently doing right now. But corporate compliance is you're making sure it's compliance focused on making sure, you're in compliance with the SEC obligation. So as a publicly traded company, you have obligations to shareholders to not mislead, to not make misleading statements, and to, provide information if there is an, incident. You have to make the shareholders aware. So again, they can make, an appropriate decision on, they can make good investment decisions based on having all of the information. And so corporate compliance, my job looks like something different every day. So I could be working with financial related risk, and working with internal audit and working on an internal investigation related to insider trading or bribes, kickbacks, or inappropriate kind of, relationships with vendors. Or I could be working with our HR, department, and working with, risk related to discrimination, harassment, and things like that. So, it's really interesting. And, even in outside of the investigation space, a corporate compliance manager is also responsible for your compliance training. So a lot of people, when you work for a company, a lot of people hate the trainings that you have to take, but you have to take sexual harassment training every year. It's legally required in certain states. And so, and aside from being legally required, it's just nice to work in an environment where people know that you shouldn't participate in harassing behavior. And so, again, it's nice to be able to build from the ground up, a training program for employees, and be able to monitor, how that training is actually, whether it's effective. And also drafting policies. So, the employee handbook, the code of conduct, all of those workforce corporate-wide policies. Compliance manager essentially works with a lot of times the corporate team, or investor relations to prepare materials for the board of directors on a quarterly basis, to let the board know, evaluate the company's risk, overall company's risk. So again, that's the life of a corporate compliance manager. Very interesting, but again, I see myself as kind of a gatekeeper, and between misconduct that happens or issues that happen in a company, and making sure that those issues are resolved, or if they can't be resolved internally, that they're bubbled up to the appropriate senior leaders, so that they can be addressed appropriately externally if need be.
Okay. And speaking about mentors, I do want to talk about barriers of entry for people who are coming out of law school and looking at compliance roles. Like, how hard is it to get into compliance roles? Would you suggest that they take on mentors as a way to break into this field? Or is it something that you come out of law school and would probably be able to find a job doing? Like, how would someone find their way into that field?
Yeah, so I think compliance is actually a space or an area where people who have a JD are, considered top candidates, again, because of that ability to issue spot and be able to read and understand regulations, and be able to help translate that to an internal business stakeholder. So I think compliance is a natural area for people who are, have a JD. That's a natural area for them to move into. And I will say there's a few different spaces, right? I think particularly in the Philadelphia, New Jersey area, there's a lot of pharmaceutical companies, and so they also are looking for compliance managers. But I think there are a few things that people can do to make themselves, very, very attractive. There's certain certifications. So again, maybe you have your JD and you have your, law license. But if you're not interested in necessarily practicing, you can also get they have like a license to be a corporate compliance leader, or the Society of Corporate Compliance and Ethics. They also have a certification. I think they have a healthcare corporate compliance manager certification. So again, if you're working in the pharmaceutical industry, they have a specific focus on, pharmaceutical related and healthcare related regulations for compliance managers. And then they just have a general corporate compliance manager certification. So I think getting those certifications is, it not only does it bolster your resume, but it also is an opportunity to network with other professionals. And again, make those connections to, look out for potential opportunities in the compliance space, because with everything, I think networking is really critical. A lot of times, you may get a job based on just cold applying, but a lot of times it's really based on who and whether you're going to be a good fit for the people that work with that company, or will work with the role that they're looking to hire for. So I think participating in professional organizations, and getting those certifications is one way to really help find mentors in that space, if you're not already, again, working in-house, or you're not already kind of in the compliance realm. Those are areas where I would start. And I believe there's definitely a compliance, like they have, I think there's a Black corporate compliance manager, organization, or African American compliance professional organizations out there as well. So again, I think really utilizing those networking and industry groups can be really helpful, particularly on LinkedIn. Even I've found a lot of groups there, and I believe there's even a Widener Law compliance group. So
Wow.
again, yeah. So I've not been, candidly, I haven't been fully, invested since I've moved to the West Coast. But again, I do get the, invites and email, kind of notifications and reminders. So again, I think those are kind of the best ways to really get your foot in the door in the compliance realm. But it should be an easy transition for someone who has that legal background and that legal expertise. It's an area where you can pivot.
Okay. So I'm actually don't feel bad about not knowing or attending anything for the Widener group because I'm also a Widener law grad. I graduated from Delaware Law and I did not know they had that group. So this is a lot of great information. So if you are listening, you heard it here first. For all of the people that I went to law school with who may be practicing right now in a traditional law firm or not really sure what you want to do next, go ahead and look at those groups, hit up some mentors, join some organizations, and of course, network. What would you say would be the highlight of your career so far, like the most memorable part? Now, I know from looking at the pictures online, I'm like standing next to and getting an award, from the CEO of Comcast has to be like up there because like who else can say that?
Yeah, that was definitely an exciting moment. So I think there were a couple of things or awards and honorary recognitions and accomplishments that were pretty memorable. Again, I think most of them were, or the two that come to mind were from my time at Comcast since I was there again for so long. But one was just what you mentioned, Sabrina, was, being able to speak in front of, I think it was National Diversity Week. And so because I am a member of NAMIC, which is the National Association of Multi-Ethnicity in the communications, I know it's a lot, but NAMIC, because of my involvement in that organization, I was again able to participate in Diversity Week and was asked to present an award at their large kind of gala, the gala to kind of the large gala, the spotlight gala, I guess, of the Diversity Week, all of the events. So their culminating event was the gala. And that's where you saw the photos from that event where, I kind of was an MC of the night with a few other people who were, again, heavily involved in the NAMIC organization. So again, I think it's another shameless plug to make sure you're involved in those professional organizations, because you never know what opportunities they could lead to. But that was really exciting. And then another event, an honor that I was fortunate to receive while at Comcast was in 2016. I was a Cable Fax award winner honoree for being a overachiever under 30. So that was another, really great accomplishment. And I'll say, at that event, I had the chance to meet. So I won the award based on my work in the Comcast advertising division. Participating, helping roll out a new kind of initiative during a political season without impacting the business. And so because of my work on that project, I was able to, I've received this honor. But there were also attendees and honorees there from the Comcast, cable side of the business. And so I had a chance to meet other award winners there from the Comcast cable side of the business. And again, just networking with them allowed me to participate in the Comcast has employee resource groups, which are basically affinity groups for employees to have a safe space to network and talk and plan different events. And so from meeting people at the Cable Fax award honoree dinner, I met people who were involved in the Young Professionals employee resource group at Comcast. And then I went on to become the community service co-lead for that organization and help plan Comcast Cares Day community service events. So again, it's really, it's one of the things I really do enjoy doing is finding a way to give back. And so, sometimes I give back through participating in some of these, organizations. And then again, you just never know where those opportunities will lead to. I think I'm just, working hard and volunteering my time. And then, you get tapped to do something else. So, it's always fun. But those were definitely two accomplishments and two awards that, I felt really honored to receive.
We're going to go ahead and give you a hand clap for that. Fantastic, doing awesome things like I know you to always do. You always are a hard worker, always giving back, always just doing the most, and always looking sharp doing it. So that's my friend. That's my friend. That's my friend.
Likewise.
So this is pretty much the end of the interview. This is the part where I do some rapid fire questions where I ask, are you going to choose which one is better? And this is just to help people weigh their job as an attorney with their job in another field. Okay. So which one would you say has the best, being a lawyer or being a compliance manager, which one has the best work-life balance?
Compliance manager, I would say. For sure.
Okay. Okay. So you guys don't work the same hours that lawyers do.
I would say firm life, yes. Like in-house attorneys, corporate compliance managers probably have the same work-life balance as an in-house attorney, but not the same as a firm attorney, for sure.
You're like, I'm not doing 90, 100-hour work weeks.
Exactly. At the end of the day, in-house, like that, somebody's life is not on the line. Like
exactly.
This email, it's an email that can wait, or that's going to be read on Monday. So
exactly. You have a weekend. You know what a weekend is.
Exactly.
You participate in weekends.
Exactly. There may be a time here or there where, something may come up, but overall, you can enjoy your weekends without, feeling like you're on call.
Okay. Now we're going to compare which one has a better salary, compliance managers or lawyers? We'll say specifically firm life lawyers, because I mean, lawyers run the gamut. We already know that, but
exactly.
Let's just say for firm.
Exactly. I would say probably firm life.
Yeah, it's hard to beat, girl. We know.
Exactly. I would have to say firm life. I can't, Yeah. I was going to try to, back into it with like in-house, you have some perks, you get, maybe travel or things like that. But yeah, it's firm life. You still have trouble with that.
Okay. And which one do you think has the better chance of upward mobility?
Oh, again, it's tough with both, but I would say probably compliance. Again, when you're working for in-house for, for a company or an organization, I think you can laterally move within the business. You can also move industries, change companies. You can move and progress, within a firm. But I think, again, that's really, really hard to do. Whereas, you can be promoted and get raises internally within a hierarchical kind of matrixed organization. You can be promoted and recognize those salary increases in multiple ways. So I would definitely say working in-house and in a compliance professional role is a way to really progress a little bit more than firm.
Yeah.
Or faster, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, faster for sure, because you can be partner track for a long time.
Exactly.
Never make it.
Exactly.
But thank you again, Danny, for this talk. I hope everyone got the answers that they were looking for. If you are looking to go into compliance, Danielle, would you be willing to give out your email or either your Instagram to people who would like to reach out with more questions on how to get into your field, or maybe they themselves are looking for a mentor and getting into compliance?
Yes, yes. So I will definitely give out my email, but I will say my personal email, I'm not as on top of it as my professional email, work email. So I would say, email is one way, but LinkedIn, is a very good way to get in contact with me because I don't have as much spam and noise within my LinkedIn inbox, and always willing to connect with people who have questions or just want to see what's going on in the compliance space and follow the latest compliance news. So my LinkedIn, again, you can follow me. It's Danielle Phillips. And I'm -JD, so there may be a few Danielle Phillips, but again, I'm Danielle Phillips JD on LinkedIn, and my email address is D as in dog, PHILLI, the number 4 @gmail.com. So again, always happy to take questions and just connect and have maybe a virtual one-on-one with people who are interested in entering the compliance space. And I did also want to throw out there, I mentioned the association, I mentioned an organization for Black compliance professionals, but I just wanted to, I did look up the official name. And so the organization is called the National Association of Black Compliance and Risk Management Professionals. So again, that's another great organization to participate in if you're interested in entering the compliance space. But definitely reach out to me. Happy to connect.
Thank you so much, Danny. This has been awesome. And girl, I hope you're really enjoying it out there in California because we're missing you here in Philadelphia.
I know. I definitely miss Philly, but I can't beat the sunshine and warm weather.
It's raining here, girl, so I don't blame you. Until next time, everyone, thank you for tuning in. And this is Life After Legal. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.